Hello and welcome back to another FPL captaincy video. Today we open up the video on a little bit of a disappointment after another blank last week. One of our only 6 blanks so far of the season when it comes to our captaincies, and it's a little bit more disappointing because we have had such a good run in the last couple of game weeks with only 1 blank in the last 10. Obviously adding Palmer to that now makes it 2, which is unfortunate, but at the end of the day there wasn't really anything we could have done about it. I think all 4 of our picks last week ended up blanking. Obviously Salah was a blank, ISAK was a blank, and then it came to the last day. Was very optimistic about Palmer against Wolves, and unfortunately he ended up blanking as well. So the only successful one I think would have been Chris Wood, who I did mention just missed out on our 4 picks last week. Probably wouldn't have picked him over Cole Palmer anyways. I think that Wolves fixture was a really good one. Heading into game week 23, and Mo Salah is up against Ipswich, so I imagine it should be a pretty easy decision for most of us, but let's take a look at the stats. So our 4 picks for this week include Mohamed Salah, of course. We've got Cole Palmer and Haaland, who are playing against each other. And we also have Alexander Isak, who is playing against Southampton at home. So a potential differential captaincy when everyone is going to probably be on Mo Salah. I think the expected captaincy on him is going to be very, very high. A little bit difficult when it comes to picking other captaincies, which is why we do have the likes of Cole Palmer and Erling Haaland in here with difficult fixtures against each other. But as I said, there is, not too many big captaincy picks this week. And when it comes to predicted points, it is probably the biggest predicted points that we have seen so far this season, because I've actually had to reduce the title in the graphics in order to fit in FPL team's prediction for Mohamed Salah this week. So he has got a 10.3 predicted points on FPL team and a 9.3 on Fantasy Football Hub. So that is by far the highest we have seen all season, and probably the highest you will see. Well, actually saying that, you might even see that being beaten next week with Mohamed Salah, of course, with the double game week. But, like I said, compared to everyone else, completely blowing them out the water. ISAK is sitting as the number 2 with 7.8 and 7.9, but of course, all focus on Mohamed Salah this week. Now, before we continue, make sure to drop a like on the video. It would be very, very much appreciated, and make sure to subscribe as well if you are new here, because then you can keep up to date with all of our captaincy picks, which has had a decent run over the course of the season. Of course, we do it for every single game week as well, so make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you know exactly when they come out. It is usually Wednesday or Thursday for our captaincy videos, just in case you wanted to know. But for our stats, it is, of course, Erling Haaland who is leading the way for expected goals. Now, Mohamed Salah was very, very close to catching up with him, and Haaland said no. He is, starting to rack up the XG again. Up to 17.5 now, matching it with his 17 goals. Salah a little bit behind on 16.3, but he is still the Premier League's top goal scorer with 18 goals. Isak in at third at 12.4. and Palmer in at 4th place at 11.5. I believe they are the top 4 in the league as well for expected goals, just in case you were wondering. For the expected assists, it is Cole Palmer with 6.3, followed by Salah at 5.3, and then Isak and Haaland are a little bit low with only 2.7 and 1.2. For our return chances, Salah is the one with the highest chance of returning this week according to Fantasy Football Hub, with a 77% chance of returning. Isak in its second again with a 72% chance of returning, so a very, very decent chance for both of these guys. So it's not as clear cut as you would have imagined. And then Haaland's down at 67% with Palmer at 4th at 63%. However, for the goal scoring odds, it is a little bit of a domination from Mohamed Salah. He has a 60% chance of picking up at least 1 goal this weekend against Ipswich at home, followed by Isak at a 52% chance, followed by Haaland just a little bit behind on a 50% chance of scoring. When it comes to scoring 2 or more goals, Salah still has a 27% chance of scoring 2 or more, which is still a very, very decent chance, a very, very good odds for him. Again, Isak in at number 2 with 20%, just pipping Haaland, who's got 17%. Then when it comes to the opponent's clean sheet odds, Ipswich only have a 4% chance of keeping a clean sheet against Liverpool this week, so a big, big advantage there to someone like Mohamed Salah, who obviously plays on the front line. Southampton in its second with only a 10% chance of a clean sheet. Chelsea with only a 15% chance of a clean sheet. And of our 4 picks, it's Man City with the highest chance with a 23% chance of a clean sheet. Set pieces wise, I feel like we say it every single week. Of course, we have our 4 penalty takers as always. Again, when it comes to captaincies, you always want to be picking someone who is on penalties because it is just a very easy route to points if a penalty does occur in the match. Of course, Palmer, as always, has the extra added bonus with the free kicks and corners. Obviously, there was European football on this week, so there has been Champions League games, only for 2 of our players though. Palmer, obviously playing in the Conference League. 1, he wasn't selected in the squad, and 2, the league phase for the Conference League is over, so there's no matches for that. And Newcastle and ISAK, obviously not qualified in Europe this season, so a full week of rest for ISAK. However, when it comes to Haaland and Salah, both playing in the Champions League, both of them are playing on Saturday, and obviously Tuesday and Wednesday were their 2 games, which means Salah is getting an extra day's rest over Erling Haaland when it comes to their game at the weekend. Now, obviously, full rests for Alexander Isak and Palmer, so if you are someone that likes to consider that, obviously Isak has been the second best throughout this video. If rest plays a big part in your opinion, Isak could be a really nice option if you wanted to go for a differential after Salah's 2 recent blanks. Next, we have our chances conceded, and once again, our 2 best picks so far of the week are up against the 2 worst defences of the league this season. Salah up against the 2nd worst defence in Ipswich with a 44.1 expected goals conceded, and Isak up against the worst defence in Southampton, who have conceded 50 goals now and are 1st for expected goals conceded. They are still only 2nd for actual goals conceded. Wolves have still conceded the most goals in the league with 51. But it's getting very close to Southampton, and that could very well change this weekend. When it comes to chances conceded, however, very, very weak down the right hand side for both Southampton and Ipswich. Obviously, that's more favourable for the likes of Mohamed Salah. Ipswich are a lot weaker down Salah's side than they are down the left hand side. Very weak down the middle as well, with 158 chances conceded. For Chelsea, if you were considering maybe an Erling Haaland, Chelsea are a little bit stronger down the middle than a lot of other teams. City are, conceding 114 down the middle, but Chelsea haven't even hit that 100 yet. When you look at the likes of Southampton, they're nearly hitting 200 for chances down the middle. So again, very, very favourable in the likes of Isak, who if you don't own, you definitely want to as soon as possible, because it does look as though, as good as Mohamed Salah is, Isak could be on for a big haul this week. But we aren't going to go for anything rash, anything silly. We are picking Mohamed Salah as our Game Week 23 captain. Again, fairly obvious where this was going to go, especially after seeing that first slide with the predicted points. I've never seen anyone with over 10 predicted points in a single game week, and that was after triple captain and Erling Haaland in Game Week 2 because of, all of those stats. This week, Salah's looking just as good. In my opinion, very much could be a triple captaincy week for Salah if you still own it. But obviously, he's got that double next week. Debatably, 2 much better teams. Everton away and Bournemouth away. They are 2 okay enough defences. So if you were really feeling like going against the grain against everyone else with triple captaincies, it's definitely on the cards for Game Week 23 if you are feeling a little bit risky, feeling like you want to go against everyone else. But of course, Salah is going to be the captain. He's got the highest X points all season, the highest return chance this week with 77%, highest goal odds. He's got the home game, of course, which Isak doesn't have. He's got the up against the team with the lowest clean sheet odds. Obviously, has that extra day's rest in the Champions League than someone like an Erling Haaland. Up against the 2nd worst defence in the league, again at home is where we like to reiterate that. Obviously, Isak is up against a worse defence, and Salah obviously played against Ipswich in Game Week 1 where he picked up a 14-pointer. We're now into the reverse fixture, once again the home fixture, which Salah could very much do fantastically in. So Salah is going to be this week's captain. Let me know in the comments if you do disagree. I highly doubt you will, because I think, every single person is probably going to be going for Mohamed Salah this week, but that's just kind of how the game works at this point. So make sure you leave a like if you did enjoy. Make sure to subscribe again if you haven't already, because we do this every single week. So once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.